guys, Stephanie here, and I'm back with more movie chatter. And if this is your first time here, I want to thank you for checking out my channel. If you're a regular, welcome back. This is a movie channel, so everything I talk about here is movie related. I do reviews, top 10 lists, collection updates, and videos that I post every Wednesday called Weekend Watch. That's a segment where I give you a few suggestions for Blu-rays and rentals to watch at home, as well as a few options for those of you who want to head out and see a movie in the theater. So if this is the kind of content you're interested in, definitely hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so you'll be notified when I upload my videos. And what I have for you guys today is another Criterion Collection update as far as pickups and review segment. So I'm going to show you what I've picked up or what's come to the mail since my last video, and then I've picked out 5 films that I recently watched and I'm going to review them so you guys can decide if it's something that you want to pick up during the Barnes & Noble sale, which is still going on until the 6th of August. So you still have plenty of time if you want to get out there and grab a few titles. And I'm just going to let's just get right into the pickups. And these, again, are going to be brief because after I rewatch them or watch them over time, I will definitely review all of these. Let me know if there's any in particular you want to see. My first one is Spine number 543. It's one that I have seen, but I have not seen in a while, so I'm looking forward to revisiting it. It's Charlie Chaplin's Modern Times. And as far as I'm concerned, anything by Charlie Chaplin will always have a place in my collection. So I'm really excited to revisit this one and see what Criterion has done to it. And I'm very happy to have it in my collection. And this next one came, it was a viewer suggestion. And it is Spine number 139, a film by Ingmar Bergman, Wild Strawberries. And I am kind of new to Ingmar Bergman, but I've been enjoying everything that I've been watching. So I'm really excited to check this one out and, see what it's all about. But it came very highly recommended, so I'm looking forward to it. And I'll definitely get back to you with more thoughts after I watch it. And this next one is a film by John Ford that stars John Wayne. It's called Stagecoach, Spine number 516. And I recently watched John Ford's follow-up to this one called A Young Mr. Lincoln, and that stars Henry Fonda, and I really enjoyed that. So if you guys want to hear me review that, let me know in the comments and I'll review it in my next Criterion video. But until then, Stagecoach, and as soon as I give this a watch, I'm definitely going to give you my more in-depth thoughts on it. And this is one that I've seen, but I haven't seen it in a while, so I'm really looking forward to see what Criterion has done with it. It is Spine number 867, Woman of the Year. It stars Katharine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy. That's a tongue tire for me. Anyway, this is a great movie, and I can't wait to see what Criterion has done with it, and I can't wait to revisit it. And I recently watched another film with Katharine Hepburn called Philadelphia Story. And if you're interested in hearing my thoughts on that one, definitely let me know in the comments because I can review that one in my next video as well. That's a great one. It's so funny, and it really holds up over time. I was really surprised. I hadn't seen it in a while. The next one is another one by Ingmar Bergman. I'm on a roll, huh? This one was also a suggestion from a viewer. It's Spine number 701, Persona, and it's quite a hefty box set here. It has it's a slip box. I like the whole black and white theme. Pretty cool theme they have going on there, and it is a 3-disc set. It also comes with a nice essay book, which you know I love my essay books, and this one is 55 pages. It has interviews and essays, so as soon as I really dive into this, I'll definitely go over it in more depth with you guys. And this is another one. Another box set. Actually, the next 2 are box sets. And this one, I have seen most of the films in this. I don't think I've seen all of them. It's been a while, so I'm looking forward to revisiting it. It is Spine 841, Lone Wolf and Cub. And this is another one of the slip box cases. It has some, I love the red and black theme, but it has some cool artwork on the back. Then we have our 3 discs inside. This also comes with a nice book of essays and information about the films. And that is 31 pages. So not as big as the other one, but there's some pretty cool things in here. And I'm sure once I take time and go through the book, I'll have a lot more in-depth thoughts on this whole set. So I will definitely be coming back to that one. And this last one is a film that was also a suggestion, viewer suggestion. and it is spine 663, and I hope I'm saying this correctly. If I'm not, I apologize. Showa. This is a 9-hour film about, I'm going to read it. Over a decade in the making, 9-hour plus opus is a monumental investigation of the unthinkable, the murder of more than 6 million Jews by the Nazis. Using no archival footage, Landsman instead focuses on first-person testimonies of survivors and former Nazis as well as other witnesses. So I am really looking forward to sitting down and really enjoying this one, and I'm sure it's going to be an amazing experience. This is another one. It's a beautiful box set. This is the artwork. Hopefully you can see all that. It's a 3-disc collection because, like it says, it's 9 hours. And it comes with a beautiful essay book, 60-page book of essays with pictures and essays about the entire box set. Anyway, those are my pickups for today, up until today, let's see, the 22nd of July. So you're all up to date on what I have. And I'm going to cut away for a minute, grab the 5 titles that I'm going to review, and I will be right back. Okay guys, I'm back and I have my stack of movies. So let's just get right into it with my first one. This is spine number 5. The 400 Blows, and I am going to mangle this guy's name, and I apologize in advance. This is a film by Francois Truffaut. Hopefully I didn't do too bad a job on that one. This is a semi-autobiographical film about a young man in his early teens who really is misguided. He doesn't have a lot of parental guidance. He has a very tough time in school because they have a very overbearing teacher. I mean, the teacher's throwing things at the kids in the class, calling them idiots, and really no guidance at all. And this guy's just trying to find his way through the typical teenage angst years with really very little help. And he has a best friend who's portrayed in this movie, and ironically enough, the gentleman who made this film, the production assistant, the film assistant, was his best friend who he was portraying in this film. So that speaks volumes about the depth of their friendship that obviously lasted a lifetime. And these guys get into all kinds of trouble. They make mistakes like petty crime, they steal things, they steal money from the one kid's grandmother, they skip school, the one guy, Antoine, our main character, he runs away from home, he stays out all night, he just leaves his parents a note, and they don't know where he is, they don't know if he's coming back, and then he goes to school, and instead of bringing a note, he makes up these crazy stories about where he was, and you get the picture. So he's constantly in trouble, but he's really not doing anything that horrible. What he's really doing, in my opinion, he was crying out for attention. And because he's not getting the attention, his mom doesn't really pay attention to him, his stepdad doesn't know what to do with him, and he's kind of lost in the shuffle, and you really start to feel for him, and you see that there is some sadness to him, and he really doesn't know what direction to go in, so he just does whatever he wants. And like I said, he makes up these wild stories, and he lies, and his parents are just kind of at their wits' end with him. And we follow him on this journey. This is a short film. It's only about 99 minutes, but there are times when you're going to be laughing out loud, and then there's other times that it's just truly heartbreaking, and you really feel for this kid, and you really want him to make it. So I think it takes you through a wide range of emotions, but it's always good. This is always a good watch. I've seen it many times, and it never disappoints. It looks great. It sounds great. It got a high-definition digital transfer, but I'm telling you, it looks amazing. You would swear it was a 4K transfer, but it really looks good, and it is a full screen aspect ratio, so you fill up the full screen, and the dialogue is great, the sound is great. It is subtitled, but like I said, there's not a lot of dialogue, so it's really easy to read. So again, if you're a person who's apprehensive about subtitled films, this is going to be no problem for you. But just for the story alone, I would say get it, because I really think it's a safe blind buy. It's not something that's going to disappoint anyone. And as far as the extras, there's not a lot of extras. There's some audio commentary, there's audition footage, little newsreel footage, an excerpt from a 1965 interview with Truffaut in which he discusses his own youth, which again, semi-autobiographical, so you'll get the tie-in there. And as far as the extras, it doesn't come with an essay book. You get the one disc, no inside artwork. And then it's just really a leaflet, a pamphlet about a little backstory about the process. And the funny thing, the ironic thing is that this title, The 400 Blows, translates, it's a translation from a French term that means to raise hell. So it's very fitting for what goes on in the movie. But yeah, the 400 Blows, I can't recommend it enough. I don't think anyone's going to be disappointed with picking up this one for their collection. So if you don't have it already, go out and check it out. And this next one came as a viewer suggestion. He actually suggested it twice, and I want to thank him because this was a wonderful surprise. This is Spine number 93, Black Narcissus. And this is a film from 1947. And this got it got a high definition digital transfer, but it looks amazing. This actually won an Oscar for cinematography, and I can totally see why, because it's a beautifully shot film. In particular, there are some shots of some flowers and cherry blossom trees that you can almost reach out and touch it. You feel like it's right there in the living room with you. It is beautiful. You would never think it was from 1945. So kudos to 1947, I'm sorry. So kudos to them for that. It is in the 1.33 aspect ratio, so you do get the black bars on the side, but as I've told you before, you kind of don't see that after a little bit. Now, this is a story of a group of nuns coming from a convent, and they are being sent to an area in the Himalayas where there is I want to say vacant building. And it kind of looks like maybe an old monastery or just an old building where maybe monks had lived. And there's no one there, so this group of nuns is sent to set up a school and a hospital for the local villagers. And they go there, and they're met by a gentleman by the name of Mr. Dean. He's a very handsome man, and he is kind of their liaison between them and the outside world, because they're up on this hill, and they're very, very isolated. I think you can even, if you can see the cover, you can tell how high up they are. And, you know, anything in the Himalayas is going to be way high up there. So these villagers come up there, and they go to the school, and they come to the hospital if they need help. And what ends up happening, I don't want to get into too much because, like any of these, I don't want to give away too much because I don't want to ruin the experience for you. If you haven't seen these before, I don't want to get into any spoilers. So you have this group of nuns, and they go up there, and now they're in a situation where they're isolated. So they're alone with their thoughts. They have a lot of time on their hands that they're not used to, because when they were back with the Covenant, they had their strict orders, and they had their daily routines and whatever else they did. And now they find themselves really spending a lot of time within themselves, with their own thoughts, and their thoughts kind of creep up on them, and a lot of them express that they're having doubts, and they're having second thoughts, and they're wondering why they're there. They're wondering why they're even part of the convent, and they're questioning everything. And they're even having flashbacks to their own past, where maybe they had romantic interests in men, or they were in love, and how they came to the calling to, you know, become nuns, and they're questioning everything, and they're pretty much by the middle of the movie, they're all ready to jump ship. And they're really distracted by the presence of this Mr. Dean, because in the convent, they're not really dealing with men in that way. And here, they're up alone, and they have this handsome man, and it really does stir up a lot of emotions in a lot of these women, and therefore leads to these doubts. And if I have to compare this to anything, it sort of felt like The Shining without all the snow, because they're alone, they're isolated, and they have just way too much time on their hands, and their mind kind of runs away with them. And what I can say about this movie is just go in and watch it, because you will really, really enjoy it. And right down to the last minute, I was glued to the set. The only thing I can say, my only minor criticism, is there were a few spots where the audio became a little muffled. And it was usually when the nuns were screaming at each other. And there's a lot of that goes on because, like I said, they're all kind of coming undone. But they start yelling back and forth, and I really couldn't get what they were saying. It became very muffled and muddled. And I went back 2 or 3 times to see if I missed anything important. And ultimately what I can tell you is, even if you miss a little bit of the dialogue, it's not going to affect the end result. You're not going to lose anything from the story. It's just really them coming undone. So yeah, Black Narcissus, I can't recommend it enough. What a pleasant surprise. And to the person who recommended this to me, thank you, thank you, thank you, because I'm so glad that I got it, and I'm so glad that I watched it. So yeah, definitely check this one out. And this next one, again, this was another viewer recommendation, and thank you so much. This is Spine number 926. It is newer to the collection. It is Manila in the Claws of Light. This was from 1975. It's 126 minutes, so it's about a 2-hour runtime, a little over 2 hours. This has a new 4K digital restoration. Now, from what I saw on one of the screens, the opening screens, is that quite a lot of work and care went into restoring this film because it appeared that it was quite damaged. So whatever they did an amazing job because this looks and sounds amazing. And this is the story. We follow Julio, who, I don't know if you can make out his face, but this is our main character, Julio, who has traveled from his village where he was a fisherman, and it seemed like a very quiet village. You see it through flashbacks. Well, you know, he flashes back different times in the movie, and you see what his life was. He was a fisherman, and he was in love with this girl. The girl takes to Manila. She gets an opportunity to go to Manila for some work and schooling, and he follows to Manila to find her. And what we quickly find out in the opening moments of the film is that he has been traveling around for about 8 months looking for her. He kind of knows where she is, but he's not entirely sure, and he hasn't found her yet. But we find out that he has been robbed. He's lost all his money that he showed up with. So right away, he's behind the 8 ball as soon as we start. And he's taking these jobs. He starts out as a laborer, and you see right away the dark side of how I want to say that the downtrodden are treated. That these are these unskilled, uneducated workers who are hired by these companies. They lie about what they're paying them. They'll say they're paying them they'll say $4 on the books when they're really only getting $2.50, and then the person running the job will keep the difference. And they do this person after person, week after week, and it's really, you're talking about the poorest of the poor when we're watching this movie. I mean, it's a very dark, almost depressing movie, but it's a really amazing movie at the same time, if you can figure that. Because we follow Julio and the different friends that he meets at these jobs, and they take him home to where they live, and you find out that it's a whole community of squatters, and they're living in filth, and they don't have the means to get out, and they're just stuck there. And they even talk about that they feel that there's raw sewage in the water, and it smells like sewage, and what a terrible condition, terrible conditions these people are working in. And at several points in the film, you know that Julio is going to end up on the streets, because while he's working at these jobs, he's allowed to live in these little shacks, these makeshift shacks that they let the workers stay in. But when the job is over and they have to move on, they tell him get out of the shack, and they're not allowed to stay there anymore. So he ends up kind of getting involved with some shady people. Things just kind of go downhill for him. And he is still determined to find this woman that he is so desperately in love with. And I had read, as far as a review, I read that the ending is on par with Seven and Fight Club. I wouldn't go that far as the surprise aspect. But what I can say is that the ending of this movie is so perfect and so fitting and exactly what it should be. It didn't surprise me necessarily, but it fit. It was perfect. And I really think that this is a film that everybody who's interested in any kind of world cinema, anything like that, you should definitely check this out, because it's a really amazing look at the darker side of humanity, and it's really worth our attention. And follow Julio on his travels, and he will show you some things that you can't really believe that exist in people, but unfortunately they do, and they did. And what a story, what a film. And this is one that I would highly suggest, and like I said, I think it's a safe blind buy. I did a blind buy on it, and I was not disappointed. The extras, it has a 4K restoration, and it tells you all about how they went about restoring it. None of these really have big essay books. They kind of just have these like fold-out pamphlets, the last 3 that I did. So, but you do get some background information. You get enough to know what you're getting into, and it gives you a little background on the film. So, yeah, I would definitely say Manila in the Claws of Light. If you haven't checked it out already, give it a look. And this next one, this has been out for a while, but it was new to me, and it's Spine number 501, Paris, Texas. And what a performance from Harry Dean Stanton. This is from 1984. It's a little longer. It's 145 minutes, full screen aspect ratio. It got a new high definition digital transfer. It looks amazing. Just the opening scenes where they're shooting the desert the rocks, the colors, the hills, beautiful. It is stunning. And Harry Dean Stanton, I don't think he speaks a word for about the first 40 minutes of the film, but you know exactly where he's at. You know exactly how he's feeling. You know exactly what he's thinking. And to do that without speaking a word, in my book, is pretty amazing. So he gives a stunning performance, and he is playing a man who has been, adrift from his family for 4 years. No one has known where he is. He just got up one day and walked off by all accounts. And he has been walking through the desert. He collapses in the desert. He ends up in a medical facility. And they contact his brother, who can't get to him fast enough. He just wants to know what's been going on. And we find out that his brother has been taking care of his young son since the time he walked off. And his ex-wife couldn't take care of him. He couldn't take care of him. And he left, and the aunt and uncle were left with the kid. And really, this is a story about family and what family will do for each other, for unconditional acceptance. No matter what happens, they're going to take care of each other. And it's really the story of a broken family and trying to find their way back. And it is a beautiful, moving story. I was never bored. It moved along at a nice clip. I never felt like anything was too dragged out. It was really neat to see the dynamics between Harry Dean Stanton's character and the young boy who played his son, and how they tried to reconnect, because the little boy's about 7 years old now, and he hasn't seen his father in 4 years, so he was, 3 when his father left. And it's just a really beautiful interaction between the young boy and his father. And I'm going to leave the rest to you guys because I don't want to give anything away. I can tell you that the ending of this one was one of the most moving endings I have seen in a very, very long time. So yeah, Paris, Texas, another one I highly recommend you guys checking out. But again, like I said, everything is subjective, so always do your homework before you go out and you pick up any of these blind buys. Because just because I love it doesn't mean you're going to love it, but I'm giving you my best here. Alright, so those are my picks for this week, or for today, for the Criterion Collection, and I hope you guys find something in the stack that you liked or something that piqued your interest. I want to thank you guys as always for watching, and I'm going to be back again real soon with some more picks. I know some people asked to see the Blob, so I'm definitely going to get to that, and Bicycle Thieves. Those two will definitely be in my next video. If there's anything else you guys want me to touch on, definitely leave it in the comments, because I can get a few more of these videos in before the sale is over. And then, like I said, we're going to continue them as a regular part of the channel. Anyway, again, I want to thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, like, share, hit the bell, whatever you want to do. Do whatever you want to do. I appreciate anything. But until next time, that's a wrap.